On the show today, we're talking about what to do when you want to charge higher fees, but you can't afford to turn down low budget leads. Welcome to JFDI with the two Lauras. This is the weekly podcast where we dive into all things related to working as a freelance social media manager, from content and marketing tips to advice about winning clients and increasing your rates. Whenever we talk about money and how much you should be charging, there's always hesitation, and we get it. When you've got bills to pay, you don't want to turn down any potential leads, even if they are low-paying ones. And if the thought of turning down low-budget leads makes you break out into a cold sweat, don't worry, we've got you. In today's episode, we're giving you 3 practical steps to charge more without panicking about losing clients. And if you want even more support, the Social Media Manager's Toolkit is open right now. And inside, we'll show you how to automate your systems and confidently set boundaries so you're not stuck saying yes to every low-paying lead. You'll get 12 months of us in your back pocket to help you through it all, and we'll even help you map out your signature offer. Get the details at thetwolauras.com/toolkit, or just click the link in the show notes. Right, let's get on with the show. Okay, so I think this problem presents itself in various different ways, doesn't it? I think one of them, possibly one of the most common, is where you just say yes to any opportunity.
Yes.
Even when it kind of doesn't really fit, it's not what you set out to be doing, but it's like, oh yeah, I'll work with you. Oh yeah, I'll do that.
And then you end up with 20 clients all paying you pennies.
All paying you pennies, and all industries that you don't give a shit about and are boring as hell.
Yeah, and you're stressed out to the max and working every evening and every weekend. Yeah. Oh, I feel stressed thinking about it.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, so definitely that is one way that I think is quite common. And I feel like I've probably been there. I think in those early days, I would just work with anyone who looked at me.
Yeah.
So definitely I was in that.
You floozy, Laura.
I was definitely overworked and 100% underpaid.
Yeah. Much like now, yeah?
Yeah, feels like it. Yeah, so, and you do then resent those clients. But you're kind of stuck in a bit of a rut. You can't kind of let them go because you've got bills to pay, you've got a mortgage to pay. You feel like you've got to justify it to a partner or husband or employees that you're going to make it. So you just keep going, and it's this cycle. Can you tell I've been there?
Totally. And also, like what you just said about you have to justify it to people, you also feel like you have to justify getting rid of them.
Yeah.
My husband, if I was to get rid of a client back in the day, he'd be like, what do you mean you're getting rid of them? They're paying you blah, blah, blah amount. And I'd be like, yeah, but that's not enough.
Yeah. I remember when I kind of got over myself and just started sacking clients left, right and centre. And you could just see like my accountant husband, and I'd be like, oh, I've got rid of another client today. And he's like, I'm thinking, I'm sure this isn't the way business works. Like, all I ever used to tell him,
yes, it is.
Yeah, I've got rid of another one.
But that's the thing though, right? And that's probably what a lot of social media managers think, because then there's that fear of, well, what are you going to do now? How are you going to replace that income?
Yeah.
And like, that's totally valid. Like, I totally get that, somebody outside of the industry and a friend of, family member would be thinking that, but social media managers will be thinking that as well. And, unable to let go of the clients. So let's solve all of these problems then, yeah? The 3 steps that we said we were going to go through that will help you to be able to turn away those low-paying leads in some way or form, so you can then work with those high-paying, lovely 4-figure clients that you want to work with. So the first thing that we would highly recommend that you do is to add in to your business a standalone or a signature offer. So that means that you can help people with any budget without them being a monthly ongoing client who you're going to end up resenting and wanting to carve your eyeballs out. So let's talk about the sort of things that could be, shall we?
Yeah, well, I kind of think the world, when you've got a skill of social media, the world is your oyster, really. There are so many things that you can offer.
100%.
And it's worth saying that this doesn't have to be something cheap. It doesn't have to be like a low ticket.
No.
It could be a higher ticket in theory. So don't just sit there and think, oh yeah, okay, well, I need to create myself a £50 digital product. That's not what we're saying.
No.
But it can be that. But it can be maybe a one-off strategy with a client, like a done-for-you service. It could be a done-with-you service.
like a strategy, like a content plan, audits. There could be loads.
Yeah, there could be tons of different things. And I think one of the things that you just touched on there in regards to like how much you would charge for something like this and that it could be high ticket. Maybe we should just talk about the difference, because I just said you could add a standalone or a signature offer. If we just talk a little bit about what the difference of those two things might be, because I think that might also spark ideas for you for what you could offer. So when we talk about a standalone service and a signature offer, they theoretically, on paper, they're the same thing, right? It's that you are selling something that somebody would pay you for like once, right? But a standalone service could be something that the way that you position it, everybody sells it. So, it's a social media strategy. All social media managers theoretically would sell that. But if you wanted to turn it into a signature offer so that the only person who somebody could buy it from would be you could do various different things to make it your own offer. So it might have a special name. It might have a specific deliverability time, right? You might say, I get this done in 7 days, whatever. It might come with a certain amount of support for a certain period. It might come with a specific content plan that you would give people.
It might only be for specific people.
Totally, yeah. And so the reason it's a signature offer is because it's unique to you. So you have to turn a standalone offer into something that's unique to you, so people can't buy it from somebody else. And then that helps you with your messaging to sell it, and it helps you with the price that you can put on it. So you can sell more of those things, and it makes it much more desirable for people. And like what you were just saying before about price, I think it's really important to remember that if you have this problem with low paying leads, you might think, yeah, but if they can't even afford a £400 a month budget, then they're never going to pay me £1,000 or £2,000 for my standalone offer. But that's not accurate at all.
Yeah.
Just because somebody doesn't want to spend £400 or £500 every single month, that doesn't mean that they wouldn't spend a chunk of money one time. Just let that sink in. It's not the same.
There's lots of scenarios where we've been like that. We've been like, no, we don't want that financial commitment. We don't see the long-term need for that, but we will kind of front load a shitload of money to get something done in a short space of time.
100%. Yeah. And most businesses will do that, because most service providers, that's how they charge, because they're not providing like an ongoing retainer kind of fee. Like if you think about, like if you were going to get your website created, probably you'd be happy to spend a lot of money on a new website. You might be more reluctant to spend like for the monthly kind of maintenance of that website, because you might think you can do it yourself,
Yeah.
So just think about how you could position that. So that's the first one. Think about how you can add a standalone or a signature offer into your business so that you can serve anybody at any budget.
Yeah, this is perfect if you're constantly that people pleaser, that you want to help you want to help everybody. This means that even if they don't tick the box to being a management client, you still have something else you can sell and become known for.
Yeah. And you can still be a people pleaser by giving them, this. It can still be brilliant.
Did you know, just to add in here, Laura Moore...
Are we coming up with a saying or some random story? Okay.
Laura Moore is more of a people pleaser than I've ever realised. It's become apparent in the last few weeks.
It really has. It's worrying.
I just thought I'd share that, because I don't necessarily think that people would realise that, but it's been quite shocking. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah. You're triggering me to want to people please. Okay, so that was point 1. Point 2, Laura, I'm handing that over to you while I get over my trauma of people pleasing.
Okay, so you want to try to automate your application process, which is ironic that you're getting me to talk about the thing that automates. But it's so you can offer an alternative to the solution within their budget. So what we mean by that is when someone comes to you and they can't afford you, the hardest part is kind of addressing that, isn't it?
Yeah.
And kind of saying to people,
awkward.
Yeah, oh, sorry, you haven't got enough budget. You're not,
sorry, you're a cheapskate.
Yeah. And it's just because, especially if you're listening to this in the UK, we are far more kind of awkward about talking about money.
Definitely.
So if you can automate that process, it removes that emotion. It removes that awkward, like, oh God, I don't have this conversation, because you can literally just press a button and it will do it all for you.
Yes, and by automating it, what we mean is that, like Laura just said, you could press a button, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be all robotic and not sounding like you. It just means that awkward email that you have to send, you only have to write it once. And once you've got over yourself and written that awkward email once and felt the ick, you never have to write it again because you can just press a button and it will automatically send, which is brilliant, especially for apparently me being the people pleaser. I could just press that button and I don't have to worry about what the person on the other side is thinking so much because I've already written it. I don't have the emotion in it.
Yeah, and it's not like you can just do that. It's just a quick click of the button. So before you let your emotions get involved, your guilt get involved, oh, but I could help them, so maybe I'll help them and just I'll lower my fees for them. Like an automation can be so quick that it kind of doesn't allow you that wobble time.
Yeah. But I think on that note that you have to kind of set these strict boundaries with yourself before you can put this into place. So you need to know, what is your deal breaker to saying yes? And so obviously it's going to be some sort of price. What is that minimum price that you are going to say, no, this is not right for you. I'm not going to take you on monthly. How close to that do they have to be?
And that minimum price shouldn't be just a price that you've plucked out of thin air.
No, absolutely not.
You need to have done the maths on that.
Yeah, definitely. And you need to know exactly how close they can get to that fee before you hit the button to either, take them to the next step or to offer them something else, whatever. If you don't have that, then every single time you get a lead, you're going to be like, oh, should I, shouldn't I? Like Laura just said, you're going to be weighing it up in your mind. So you need to make these decisions early on. And you also need to remember that it's not your responsibility to take somebody on who can't afford you. It's not your responsibility to change your budget to suit them. Their budget is their problem to solve, not your problem to solve. And yes, you might think, but I've got bills to pay. Well, that is exactly why you shouldn't take on low budget clients, because you've got bills to pay. You should be making sure that you're charging enough to cover those bills.
Yeah. And then your signature offer can help them to be able to afford you as a client later.
Absolutely. Just going back to the automating thing, we do this in Airtable, and in the toolkit we'll help you to create kind of this automated system so you can do it for you. But obviously there's going to be lots of different ways that you could do this, but you want to make sure that you're doing it in a way that is really simple and really like fast and, works really, really well, which is why we use the Airtable system for that. And what that can do is, like Laura just said, it can offer them an alternative. So it might be that you get a lead come through and you say, oh, yeah, perfect. This person's got, all the right assets that I need. They've got the perfect budget. They're like a brilliant client. You hit a button, it invites them to a discovery call. Or they come through and you're like, oh, they look like a decent client, but they can't quite afford me. You hit a button and it invites them to book something else, whatever your signature or standalone offer is. Or it might be they come through and there's like red flags everywhere. You're like, hell no, I am not taking this person on. Ditch them straight away, hit the button. They get an email that's like, sorry, can't help you. Go and find someone else, and maybe you give them links to go and look somewhere else, all of that sort of thing. But then there's no awkwardness and emotion and thinking backwards and forwards. It's just done easy.
Yeah, I love it. You do have to be quite firm, but I love it.
Yes. Yeah. You have to know what your deal breakers are and stick to them for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So the third point is probably my favourite. It's increasing your fees with low-paying clients, or I guess replacing them with higher-paying clients over time. That is my favourite.
That was like your favourite hobby at one point. Yeah. I think you probably fired and replaced more clients than you bought domains.
Ooh, possibly, yeah. At that time, yeah. As I've said many a time on this podcast, I've never charged the same for any two clients, but whenever especially in the early days when I was trying to still figure things out, the more kind of confident I was getting, the more I'd have this kind of one in, one out strategy. I realised that I couldn't keep just saying yes to clients because I'd have hit burnout pretty damn quickly. So anybody new I'd take on, my fee would be higher than any previous one. So then I would then let go of the lowest paying clients. So within quite a short space of time, my income changed massively, but my output drastically reduced.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love that. Love that. And I think there's ways as well, if you don't want to like get rid of those clients and you want to keep those clients, Some people might want to keep their clients, Laura. I know, like novel kind of concept.
I do. Like, I have had a client for 6 years. It's not like I'm a complete floozy.
But make sure when you are doing your contract, in your contract, write something in there so that people know when your fee will increase. So I used to do this all the time. I would take on a new client and it would say, this is your fee for the first 3 months. After 3 months, your fee will increase by X amount. And there would be no questions. I wouldn't ask them. I wouldn't remind them. I would just be on the 3rd month or the 4th month, whatever it was. I would then send them the new invoice with the new amount on, and they would just pay it because it's in the contract. Like, they've signed it, they've agreed to it, they knew it up front. You don't have to keep reminding them. You don't have to get permission from them. It's a JFDI moment.
I love that. I wish I'd done that.
I feel like more social media managers should do that. Like, we're all very much, there's a 3-month minimum term and you have to give a month's notice. Well, what if we had a 6 months minimum term? You give a month's notice and you build in a fee increase. That would make it much better, right?
Yeah, I always had that fee increase in my contracts, but it was never kind of like automated. I love the fact that you just increase the number on the invoice.
When you've got your mobile phone or your Wi-Fi or all of that stuff, they just do it. You don't get a choice. Yeah. It just goes up. So, we shouldn't be any different. Put it in your contract. It's a business expense. They're a business paying for business things. They know how it works.
Yeah. Agree. Love it.
And there are also obviously other points in your business throughout the year that you might want to increase your fees, both for management clients and for other things. We won't go into that too much in this podcast, but go and listen to episode 129. That's where we covered loads of different times that you can and you should increase your fees. So that's episode 129.
Yeah, and I would definitely say that you should always carry out like a risk assessment first before you increase your fees. Don't just whack them up.
Yeah, unless it's in your contract. Yeah.
Unless it's in your contract, but just don't suddenly one day go, I'm just gonna increase my fees. Like, you want to do that risk assessment first, and that's something you'll learn all about in the Social Media Managers Toolkit.
Perfect. So, quick recap then. If you're worried that you can't afford to turn away low-paying leads, these are the 3 things you need to do. Create yourself a standalone or a signature offer so you can help people with different budgets. Automate that application process so you can offer the alternative solution within their budget without the emotion. You can get rid of the low-paying fee kind of clients without the emotion, but you can take the really good people to the next step. And then increase your fees with your lower-paying clients now, or make a plan to replace those people with higher-paying clients over time. So there you go. You can charge higher fees without feeling like you're turning down every single low-budget client out there. Love it.
The dream. And if you're ready to make this process even easier, you'll want to check out the Social Media Managers Toolkit. We'll walk you through exactly how to implement these strategies. We'll help you create a standalone offer, increase your fees, and start attracting those 4-figure budget clients too. The toolkit is open now and will be by your side for the next 12 months to help you every step of the way. Head to thetwolauras.com/toolkit or hit the link in the show notes.
Nice. So we'll be back same time, same place next week. Hopefully I'll be over my people pleasing. Laura will be being less of a floozy. And yeah, we'll see you then.
Bye.
Toodles.